This man has loved raw meat since he was a kid. He would slap raw meat every day. He just enjoyed the sound of slapping meat. So he opened a butcher shop. Strangely, he never stocked up on supplies. Yet he always had fresh meat to sell every day. People in the town, once they ate his meat, they became addicted. They lined up to buy it every day until the cops showed up and uncovered this nasty case. Anthony and his wife, Ivy, run a butcher shop together. But business has always been sluggish. They can't make money. Ivy has been nagging about divorce all day long. One day, a gang of masked people suddenly burst into the store. Without saying a word, they splashed pig's blood on Ivy, then smashed the shelves, and splashed another bucket of pig's blood. Anthony got angry, daring to smash up my shop. He rushed out, charging wildly, directly knocked over one person, and pinned him to the ground, tore off his mask. Just at this moment, the gang's accomplices came back. They knocked down Anthony and rescued their companion. 4 people hurriedly fled. Anthony and Ivy hatefully watched their backs. Vegetarians actually smashed the butcher shop. It turned out they opposed the killing and eating of meat. Business is sluggish, and when Anthony was having dinner with friends, he was ridiculed in various ways. They are also running a butcher shop, but they have already opened 4 branches and sell 2 tons of meat every month. They also mocked Anthony, saying he couldn't even manage a single shop. A friend gave him a gun so he could protect himself. Anthony was full of anger. On his way home by car, he saw a young man riding a bicycle. It was the person who attacked the shop. Anthony did not hesitate. He stepped on the brakes and then accelerated in reverse. There was a thud as he hit him hard. He got out of the car to check and saw that it was over. The young man was already dead. Ivy blamed Anthony, but Anthony said if he had eaten meat, he wouldn't have been so weak. The couple didn't know how to deal with the body, so they had to take it home first, to prevent it from smelling. Anthony dealt with the body overnight. Anthony fed the dog the man's ear. After eating a piece, the dog became addicted and started constantly barking, wanting more. The next day, someone came to buy ham, but the shop was just out of stock, so Ivy sold the corpse meat directly. Unexpectedly, the taste of the meat was surprisingly good. The customer came back and asked for 10 pieces at once. Ivy didn't believe it, so she tried a piece herself, and the aroma instantly hit her taste buds. Well, she had never in her life eaten such delicious meat. Anthony was initially unwilling to sell corpse meat, but a bunch of customers came back, all asking specifically for this kind of meat. Anthony was happy. Of course, it's good to make money. 1 piece, 2 pieces, 3 or 4 pieces, 5, 6, 7 or 8 pieces. Business was too good. Anthony told the customers that this was imported Iranian pork. People spread the word, and many came to buy. A long line quickly formed outside the store. This butcher shop actually sells human meat. Business is particularly good. Suddenly, a police officer came into the shop. Anthony and Ivy were a bit panicked. However, the police officer was just there to buy meat. The two just let go of their worries. In the evening, Anthony couldn't believe it. Was the meat really that good? He secretly baked a piece, took a bite, and couldn't stop talking about it. My goodness, this is the king of meat, so delicious. The couple analyzed that the meat is delicious because the young man is a vegetarian. It seems that to make money, they have to find more vegetarians. Corpse meat was sold out, so they needed to stock up. The two had to look for new targets, so they went to a vegetarian restaurant. They first targeted the waiter, but Anthony disagreed. He thought the waiter was too thin, and the taste wouldn't be good. Ivy then pointed to the big fat man eating, but Anthony thought this fat man was too stressed, and his meat would be tough. Oh my god, the butcher couple is actually choosing human flesh. The fat woman who entered the store was ruled out. Too chubby, too much fat, wouldn't taste good. Finally, they targeted the restaurant chef as their next victim. That night, Anthony, armed with a knife, sneaked up behind the chef. At the critical moment, he messed up. The chef turned his head, and Anthony screamed in fright. After being discovered, he had to raise the knife and shout loudly, "Long live the vegetarians." Then he ran away in embarrassment. This attempt ended in failure. Once they were back in the car, Ivy complained about Anthony's lack of resolve and competence. They decided to try a different approach. That night, to motivate her husband, Ivy deliberately invited the restaurant waiter to their home. Unexpectedly, the waiter was even more aggressive, took off his clothes, and provocatively suggested a threesome. Enraged, Anthony knocked the waiter down with a punch and then grabbed a lamp, beating him fiercely. The waiter died on the spot. Ivy quickly came out to help, cleaned up the blood on the floor, and drove the electric car into the lake to destroy the evidence. Back home, the couple happily processed the meat. The butcher shop sells human meat as pork. The business is booming. They claim to the outside world, fresh foreign pork is on the shelf again. The store is full of customers, but today's meat is not much, and it sells out quickly. To ensure the supply of meat, the couple goes out hunting every day. As long as the target is deemed suitable, they will kill them by various means. Some were shot. Some were pushed down the stairs. Some were killed using car doors. The number of people the couple has killed is increasing. Until one night, Ivy prepared a surprise for her husband. She met a little fat man online. And speaking of the devil, here he is. The men didn't know what it meant. When the little fat man took off his helmet, he understood. Ivy had lied about organizing a vegetarian protest and deceived the little fat man into coming over. The two let the little fat man go to the car to choose a head cover. Anthony took out the knife and was just about to make a move. Unexpectedly, the little fat man turned around, saw the knife and was scared into run away. The butcher's boss is looking for meat everywhere. They want to catch the little fat man, but they lost his trail. The two are at a loss, only to see the little fat man fall to the ground. It turns out that the little fat man has a heart condition, and with intense exercise and excessive tension, he had a heart attack. Anthony was happy. This meat has no cuts on it. Pure and natural. Too perfect. It's a top-grade suckling pig. The two laughed and hugged each other. The next day, the couple sent the meat of the little fat man to friends to taste. Said that this foreign pork is very rare, and we prepared for you on purpose. A few people are eating happily when suddenly, a hard object in the meat scratches one friend's gums. He spits it out to see that it's a pacemaker. Ivy quickly explained that this pork costs several $100 a pound, and that it's normal for pigs with heart disease to have a pacemaker. Don't worry. The two coaxed and deceived everyone, successfully getting away with it. But this accident did not alert the two at all. Instead, it made their hunting crazier. The butcher shop actually sells human meat. To improve their hunting skills, the couple spent every night in front of the TV, watching animal documentaries, and studying the hunting techniques of various animals. This included the cheetah's fierce pounce, and the python's ability to constrict and kill. The next day, Anthony began the real hunt. He was lying in the tree, waiting for his chance. When the moment came, he pounced, knife swinging up and down, and took down his prey. He even lurked in the water, strangling and killing his prey. This time, he encountered top-grade black pork. Anthony picked up his machete and chased after it, determined not to let the fat meat escape. After processing the meat that night, the couple went to the woods to enjoy their meal. Then, another vegetarian arrived, saying he wanted to practice yoga. He complained that their meat was ruining the beauty of nature, and asked them to leave. After the couple left, the vegetarian started his yoga routine, stretching his arms to embrace nature, and bending over to view the world from between his legs. But instead of seeing the world, he saw a shotgun with a loud bang. The vegetarian went to heaven. The butcher and his wife are actually selling human flesh. In just 1 month, they had successfully hunted and killed hundreds of people, selling the flesh of the corpses. The price of the meat rose from $19.95 to $28.95, and eventually to $59.95. That night, Anthony was deep into chopping pork when in walks this black cop. He thought their cover was blown. Turns out, the cop just wanted to pre-order some black pork for tomorrow. The cop paid up but wouldn't leave, rambling on about life while Anthony was sweating bullets, just trying to get rid of him. Then, in the middle of the awkward small talk, the family dog came strutting out, with a severed hand in its mouth. Anthony nearly lost it, but he played it cool, shoved the cop out the door. Once the cop was gone, Anthony decided it was time to quit this sketchy business. He couldn't keep living like this, always scared of getting caught. But Ivy wasn't having any of it, and the two had a blowout argument. The next day, the usual crowd lined up for their fix, but Anthony told them flat out, no more of that kind of meat ever. Now all the customers had left the store. Ivy watched the business tank, and thought that Anthony was just too scared to kill. Anthony was fuming, walked away without looking back. Not long after, 3 vegans rolled up to the shop. Turns out, they knew all about the couple's dirty secret. The vegetarians learned that it's the butcher and his wife are actually selling human flesh. Ready to avenge their fallen friends, they tied Ivy up in the warehouse, and took turns beating her senseless. That night, Anthony came home, and the dog immediately sensed something was wrong. Racing straight to the warehouse, knife in hand, Anthony followed. Inside, he found their would-be killers, ready-made meat materials. Anthony and Ivy locked eyes and with a sick grin, the dog made the first move, leaping and chomping down on one guy's family jewels. Got the first kill. One of the women lunged at Anthony, but he flung a knife straight into her head. Double kill. Then it was just him and the last guy in a brutal hand-to-hand fight. But this dude was no joke. He jabbed a spike right through Anthony's shoulder. Desperate, Ivy broke free, tossed a meat hook, and bam, right through the guy's skull. Triple kill. They embraced, feeling that familiar rush of being predators again. But what they didn't expect, one of their friends had snitched to the cops after finding a heart pacemaker in their latest meal. The secret was out. The couple was arrested. The police had all the proof they needed. Anthony and Ivy had slaughtered 30 vegans. When the judge asked if they had any regrets, Ivy just grinned and said, "Can I have one last bite?" Now they're facing life behind bars. This film is called Barback. I recommend everyone to watch the original film. Don't forget to like and subscribe.